All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the third part of the show, we're going to talk more about Kirk Cousins being benched for Michael Penix and what the future holds for Kirk Cousins. But I did want to get into, some of his comments on being benched. Now, he did have an interesting quote about, addressing the elephant in the room. He talked about shooting the elephant in the room, and he called Michael Penix just to kind of break I guess the awkwardness, which I think is the right thing to do because, this was obviously tough on him and, he wants to be there for Michael Penix. He doesn't want to, turn his back on him just because now, he got benched and Michael Penix will be the starter. But like I said, I want to get into what Cousins had to say. So he said, it's pro football. There's a standard that I have for myself and the team has for me. Unfortunately, I wasn't playing up to that standard consistently enough. It is what it is. You roll with it. Now you still get ready, one play away kind of a thing, and support Mike and just try to help our team be able to find a way to win these last three to get in the playoffs. That's what it's all about, and that's my focus. He also said, I would agree it probably ultimately was the turnovers. That's such a key thing in winning and losing. And also, Raheem Morris, he had to say, I brought Kirk in here with full expectation that we could win a championship with Kirk and we'd be able to compete with Kirk. For whatever reason, whatever happened the last couple of weeks, it just hasn't felt that way. It was time to make a change. Anytime you take a step down or a demotion at work, it's not going to be met with great appreciation and all those things. But Kirk was a professional. He's a pro. He's a man. He's a great human. He's a great father. He's a great football player. He's done a lot of great things for us this year. He's handled it with class. He's an absolute professional, but obviously it comes with some disappointment when you lose your job. And, this is what he said. Also, we've got to play better at that position, and that's why we made the decision to do that last night. And, yeah, like I said, Kirk Cousins called Michael Penix, and he said, I like to shoot elephants in the room. And it did take me a second to get what he was trying to say, but then I was like, okay, that makes sense. Raheem Morris also said we had been searching. We had been digging as much as we can dig in order to make things work and try to get things going. Just last night came to a point, just wanted to make the decision to make the move. We wanted to play a little better at quarterback, and we felt like we got a chance to play a little bit better. If we can go out there and play it better at quarterback, who knows what could happen, So we'll see. And he also said, I don't think anything is ever permanent in the National Football League, but right now Michael Penix is our quarterback, and we're going to back him and give him the utmost support he needs, as we did Kirk when he was our starter. And I think that, starting against the Giants this week, it's not a bad time to start him. Now, I did say this, the opponent, it's probably the right time, but in terms of where we're at right now in the season, maybe it's not. I don't know. But we'll see. I mean, maybe Michael Penix, these final three games, plays really well. And the Falcons somehow find a way into the playoffs. But right now, the way things are looking, I think they're going to fall just short because of how the Buccaneers are playing. But listen, crazier things have happened. Kirk also said, I didn't forget how to play quarterback. Certainly the turnovers were not what you want, but I didn't forget how to play. Yeah, and in terms of Kirk Cousins, look, it's been a tough season. It's been a tough season. He started off good, but things have really turned for the worst in recent weeks. And it's because of his level of play. That's the main reason why the Falcons are in the position that they're in right now, is because of his level of play. Had he had played better, the Falcons would still be in first place. And the Falcons at one point, they were 6-3. And the Buccaneers were dealing with injuries to the receiving core, and it just looked like the Falcons were going to run away with this thing. But it's the National Football League. Things change in a hurry. And Kirk Cousins started to struggle. The Bucs got healthy. And now the division has tilted in the Bucs' favor. And I think ultimately they're going to be the team that wins it, the way things are going. But who knows? Now in terms of Kirk Cousins, what they're going to do, I mean, listen, I think with this move, now I know Raheem Morris says, nothing's permanent. Well, I think in terms of the Falcons making the switch to Michael Penix, I think that's it for Kirk Cousins in Atlanta. Now, maybe, Michael Penix doesn't play well, and, they say, all right, well, we're going to give Kirk another chance and give Michael Penix more time to sit. But I think if Michael Penix plays well these final 3 weeks, I think the Falcons are going to move forward. And, I mean, he was always going to be their long-term plan, but I think that long-term plan is going to start now and continue on, and there's going to be no looking back. I think Kirk Cousins will be looking for a new team next year. Now, I think I saw that, the Falcons can save more money if they trade him as opposed to flat out releasing him. I think if they could find a team that's willing to pick up, some of his salary and whatnot, and they can move him, the Falcons should do it. Begin that youth movement right now with your young quarterback. Begin that long-term plan right now. And trade Kirk Cousins somewhere where a team needs a quarterback. There's teams out there that are going to need it. I know CBS posted, a list of teams that could need quarterbacks. I mean, the Browns are a team that you could look at. I think about the Giants, too, depending on what ends up happening with them. Like, could they do what the Falcons did similar to what the Falcons did, where they draft a quarterback but they have him sit? I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I'm trying to see if I could find the post, because it was Kirk Cousins and there was, so here it is. So there's potential. So these are the potential landing spots if the Falcons decide to move off of him, and this is according to Cody Benjamin of CBS Sports. So the Browns, you got the Colts on here as well, the Saints, the Titans, and the Seahawks. So those last three teams, I don't know about the Colts, because I think the Colts are still going to roll with Anthony Richardson. He's played better as of late, except last week. But still, he's played better. I think the Saints make sense. The Titans, because, Will Levis got benched. And, it doesn't seem like he's going to be the long-term answer. You also got the Seahawks as well. I think the Seahawks would be a really good spot for him. If the Seahawks decide to make a change there and move off of Geno Smith. And I know, again, I said that maybe Sam Howell could do something. But, I mean, look at how he played against the Packers. I mean, I would like to see him get a full week of prep before a game and then play a full game and then make a decision there. But I don't know. I guess I was a little too optimistic with him. But the Seahawks would be a good spot for Kirk. I mean, DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith and Jigba, that running game, their defense is pretty good. That would be a good spot for him if they trade him there. But maybe they trade him out of the conference. I don't know. But also, what's interesting, too, is they also posted on their Instagram the records of the starting quarterbacks over the last 3 seasons. So in 2022, Marcus Mariota went 5-8. Desmond Ridder went 2-2. So they finished 7-10. Then last year, Desmond Ridder went 6-7. Taylor Heineke went 1-3. So they went 7-10 again. And then this year, Kirk Cousins went 7-7. Almost had the same record as Desmond Ridder. Just one game better. One win better. And it's just, it's been a disappointment. The signing of Kirk Cousins has been a disappointment because they brought him in, like Raheem Morris said, to get them to a Super Bowl and win a championship. Now, I didn't think the Falcons were going to win any kind of championship this year. I thought, well, I guess their division, but I didn't think they were going to go far in the playoffs. I thought Kirk Cousins was going to do enough to, make this team better. And, they were going to win the division. But that hasn't happened. And it was kind of a failure. And the Falcons are receiving a lot of heat now because you signed Kirk Cousins to this big contract and you drafted your future. And that contract has not lived up to what the Falcons were hoping for. Not even close. And I mean, you get it still on some level because, now the Falcons can go to their young guy and see what their young guy has. It's just right now the timing of it. Just you're in the middle of a playoff race. You're trying to keep up with the Buccaneers. It's just, it could be a lot of pressure on a rookie to come in and try to, keep this team in it. Now, Fortunately for the Falcons, like I keep saying, the schedule is light. But again, this is his first, you know, career start coming up. Who knows what's going to happen? And you got a Giants team coming in that, for the second straight week, you got a plane flying over MetLife Stadium calling out the owner, with the banner calling out the owner. And supposedly the Giants are not happy, and they want to try to, win these final 3 games, pull out all the stops to win these final 3 games. So, the Giants could be coming in and give Michael Penix a tough time. Who knows? I mean, to me, I think the Falcons should still win. But you never know. I think on Sunday we're going to see a competitive game between the Giants and the Falcons. I think we are going to see that. But I'm curious to see how Michael Penix does, because he's got good weapons around him. Drake London's had a good year. Darnell Mooney's had a good year. Kyle Pitts has been inconsistent. The running game, though, it's one of the best. Bijan Robinson has had a good season. Tyler Algier is a good number 2. So, Michael Penix coming in, this does add juice. And maybe he goes out there and he lights it up these final 3 games. This is a guy that played in the national championship game. Didn't win, but, did do that. It was last year. So he's played in big games before. These 3 games coming up, these are 3 big games. Because this determines whether the Falcons can still make the playoffs or not. And, you got this game coming up, his first career start. Next week, he's going to be on prime time. And then the final week of the season, it could be a win-and-in scenario, depending on if the Bucs slip up or not. So, yeah, these are 3 big games. There's pressure there. And I'm excited to see what he could do. But let me know what you guys think, though, about what Kirk Cousins, what Raheem Morris had to say. Also, it was funny, Michael Penix was in Costco when he found out he was the starter. He was ordering a hot dog, and he lost his appetite when he found out that he was going to be the starter. So, I'm curious to see how he does, and he's a fellow southpaw. That's another lefty quarterback. I hope he does well. And for Giant fans, they hope he does well on Sunday because they want the Giants to have the number 1 pick. Because the Giants win this game, I mean, they could go from 1 all the way down to either 8 or 9. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, though, about the Kirk Cousins, Michael Penix situation. How do you think he'll perform on Sunday? Let me know in the comments. So we're going to take our next break. When we come back, we will talk about Patrick Mahomes' injury update regarding him. It's looking like he's trending towards playing on Saturday against the Texans. So we'll talk about that when we come back. So with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.